so many through lines in these companies, many of them started by immigrants, bringing their culture here, connecting people with culture through food, setting up multi-generational family businesses, and balancing the industry of baking and pastries, low ingredient costs, high labor expenses, and normally pretty tough hours like bake all night, sell all day. Healthy retail operators in the baking business typically hit a 10 to 14% profit margin. Bakeries fit into that labor of love category. Jack's Big Bite is where we focus on one particular story or topic in our community, a community we believe in with our partners at First State Bank. Stop into one of their local branches or visit online at fsb4me.com to access all the helpful tools and services at First State Bank, built on belief and committed to doing right by our communities. For today's Big Bite, presented by First State Bank, we've got the owner of Best Side Cookies, Courtney Kramer, coming on the show today. She is a small business owner who specializes in, as you might imagine, cookies, specifically made-to-order cookies. And so we wanted to go through the Cincinnati area's rich history of businesses in the baking industry. Going to start here with some historical news. First up, the Streetman Biscuit Company. That is the Streetman building today. Streetman Center right there at the corner of 12th and Central Parkway in Over the Rhine. And it was built in the late 1800s when that corner was West 12th at the Miami-Erie Canal, the Rhine that people were going over to travel in this city. The Streetman Biscuit Company made cookies, crackers, and more with its factory on that corner, and it kept adding on to the structure as time went on and success grew. In the 1920s, it became a regional division of United Biscuit Company. 20 years after that, the business moved to Marymount, which had only been around as a village for a few years at that point. That business history got intertwined with Keebler as another regional baker by the 60s. But you will recognize some Streetman brands such as Zesta Saltines. They started back in 1926 and became Keebler's national brand after the merge. The Zesta was chosen as a name in a winning entry in a contest held by Streetman. Joseph Rosenthal of Cincinnati won $100 for entering the name Zesta. That would be about $2,000 nowadays. Another historic baking company in the area was Suregood Biscuit out of Oakley. Suregood started in the 20s and produced cookies and more under its Suregood Products label. It also made Hanover pretzels. It produced Chi-Chi's tortilla chips and Skyline oyster crackers for a while. They also made the local favorite Mama's cookies. Friend of the show, Josh Sneed, through his Cincy Shirts company, commemorated Mama's cookies with that local favorite. Suregood was acquired by the North American arm of Parmalat Finanziaria. Let's try that again. Parmalat Finanziaria. That is a really easy word to say. That acquisition was made in 1999. They stopped selling Mama's cookies somewhere along the line in there. When it comes to local bakery traditions that are still part of Cincinnati culture, hit it. Ooh, boy, that video is a mood setter. Joseph Buskin was taught how to bake by his father, Clem, and he moved from Oklahoma back to Cincinnati right as the Roaring '20s were about to start. He got a small grocer in East Hyde Park to put a bakery into the store. He borrowed $500 from a relative and started making bread and cookies with a plan to bake all night and sell all day. The company ultimately bought a failed grocery store at the corner of Madison and Edwards. You might recognize that intersection when it comes to Buskin. Made it a huge bakery that could supply more than a dozen of their satellite locations. Mortgaged the family land in Indian Hill to do it. Talk about putting your money where your mouth is. By now, Joseph Jr. and his brother Paige were in the mix of the company. The brothers added locations in the 70s, added restaurant options in the 80s, and with the birth of the internet, Buskin's started doing worldwide distribution. Joe Buskin's grandsons, Dan and Brian, took the reins in the early 2000s, as Buskin Bakery is among the 10 to 15% of companies that thrive into the third generation of family ownership and control. One other local bakery favorite that's tied deeply into Cincinnati's German roots. Now, the name may sound Italian, but Servati stems from Servatius, patron saint of the city gate in Munster. Wilhelm Gottenbusch came to the U.S., arriving in Cincinnati in 1957. He was a staff sergeant in the Army and the head of kitchens at Fort Knox. In 1963, he opened his first bakery, a one-man shop on Observatory Avenue in Hyde Park, right next to where Carl's Deli stands today. And then Gary and Greg Gottenbusch, Wilhelm's sons, both apprenticed in Germany, earning their journeyman status. Greg in pastry, Gary in baking. And Gary, like his father and grandfather before him, earned his master baker certification in 2001. Today, Greg runs day-to-day Servati business, and Paul, his nephew, is now the head night baker and is learning the family business as of just the last couple of years. There are so many through lines in these companies, many of them started by immigrants, bringing their culture here, connecting people with culture through food, setting up multi-generational family businesses, and balancing the industry of baking and pastries, low ingredient costs, high labor expenses, and normally pretty tough hours like bake all night, sell all day. Healthy retail operators in the baking business typically hit a 10 to 14% profit margin.